Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Cyberse Yugioh deck profile for post Fist of the Gadgets. With the release of Fist of the Gadgets, we actually received a good amount of Cyberse support, including Shooting Code Talker and a bunch of other cards that were supposed to be included in the Shooting Code starter deck, but we actually got them in the form of the foils in the Fist of the Gadgets booster pack instead, which I'm happy either way. Just glad that we finally got the support. And also we had the release of the Legacy of the Duelists video game recently as well, and with it we had a few more cards added in, so we have a good amount for the Cyberse deck in total, and I would say full powered now with everything we have until more upcoming support with the later booster packs we'll be getting in the fall. So very happy with the results of this deck. The main focus of this one focuses on the code talkers themselves and not so much all the other different fusion summons we can do. I wanted to focus mostly on the code talkers since that was a good amount of the support we received. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So to start off, for the monsters, I'm running 3 Cyberse Gadgets. When this card is normal summon, you can target 1 level 2 or lower monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense. Its effects are negated. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 gadget token with level 2 attack and defense are both 0. You can use the effect of Cyberse Gadget once per turn. So with this card, it's great for your setup, just being able to, revive a monster from the graveyard to give you more options for your link fodder, but then also giving you that additional token when you send this card, uses it more and more, so it gives you a link 3 option if you have your graveyard set up properly, and also just if you have, the option to go for the link 2, get your token, then you can make your link 3 very easily. And I also run 3 Balancer Lord just for an additional 1,000 life points. You can perform an additional normal summon with this card, and when this card is banished, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower monster from your hand. You can use this effect of Balancer Lord once per turn, but it gives you more options to get more monsters out on the field, which is what a good amount of the 3 ofs that I run in the deck do. Just give you more and more setup for your cards that you can use, including 3 Widget Kid, which I'm also running 3 of. If it's normal or special summon, you can special summon 1 Cyberse monster from your hand in defense. You can only use this effect of Widget Kid once per turn. So just getting a long line of monsters, giving you like 5 on the field to work with all the different Cyberse monsters we use that all run together is the main point, like I said, of the 3 ofs that I run in the deck, with Widget Kid just giving you that additional special summon from your hand, and then just having more and more cards to use their effects with. Being like example, being able to summon Balancer Lord and have the additional summon of Widget Kid, then use Widget Kid for another monster of your choice depending on what the card is. And I also run 3 Rom Claudia. I really do like this one late game just for the fact when it is normal summon, you can target 1 Cyberse monster in your graveyard except Rom Claudia, add to your hand. And if it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower Cyberse monster from your deck except Rom Claudia, giving you more options depending on what you might need for your cards on the field, but also just giving you that option to add back some Cyberse monsters from your graveyard, like I said, late game, especially if you want to add back cards like Backup Secretary, and then, special summon them back to the field, giving you more link options. Rom Claudia definitely does help with those comeback plays, especially when you open up this card. And I only was able to get a hold of 2 Microcoder. This is the new monster from the Legacy of the Duelists set that came out, with very good support for the Code Talkers. If a Cyberse monster you control be used as link material for a Code Talker monster, this card in your hand can also be used as material. If this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard as material for the link of a Code Talker monster, you can either add 1 Signet Spell Trap from your deck to your hand, or if this card is on the field, was used as material, you can add 1 level 4 Cyberse monster instead. You can only use each effect of Microcoder once per turn. I definitely want to run 3 of this card. The search and the fact that you can use it from your hand very easily is a great added benefit bonus to this card, just having so many options, being able to conserve your field by using this card in your hand, and then giving you search depending on the Signet or monster, depending on where Microcoder was on the field. If you were to add a 3rd Microcoder to the deck, I'd recommend taking out the Rom Claudia. So we'd run 2 Rom Claudia and then 3 Microcoder. Just like I say, it's a very good card to make all your plays with. But if you don't have Legacy of the Duelist or access to get the game and you want to take microcoder out for something else, I would try out Latency from the latest Fist of the Gadgets. This is the level 1 monster that just gives you a little more draw power when added back from your graveyard. It's a thought to replace this card in the deck. And I also run 2 Clock Wyvern, decide to drop this card down to 2 with the addition of Microcoder into the deck. It still gives you, the token, which definitely does come in handy. But since we're not running Cyberse Clock Dragon in the deck, it's not as needed to go for your fusion plays, but still very helpful, giving you that additional token when you just need more monsters on the field to use. And then, obviously, you just get that option for those 2 monsters. Then having some other ones in your hand can give you the link 3 you need for your plays. And I also run 2 Backup Secretary, just an easy special summon from your hand if you control a Cyberse monster. And then, like I said with Rom Claudia earlier, being able to add this card back to your hand and make it an easy special summon if you have any other monsters on the field can help with your additional searches for sure. And then for the few one-ofs we run in the deck, still at 1 on the ban list is Lady Debug, but still definitely like running it in the deck. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 level 4 or lower Cyberse. It's not 4 or lower, 3 or lower, my mistake. Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand. You can use this effect of Lady Debug once per turn, but you have access to a good amount of Cyberse cards in your deck when you use this card, so it definitely is a big, helpful bonus when you do. And I am also running 1 of the new Defcon Bird. You can discard 1 other Cyberse monster to special summon this card from your hand. You can use this effect of Defcon Bird once per turn. And once per turn, when your Cyberse monster is targeted for an attack, you can make its attack and defense become double its original attack. Then you can change it to defense, and this attack and defense change lasts until the end of the damage step. So more of a defense card, but I like it for the discard power, being able to easily special summon out to the field, but also set up some other Cyberse monsters in your graveyard to use, let's say, to set up and use with cards like Cyberse Gadget also. And then for a few more one-ofs, I run 1 C Archiver and 1 D-Grade Buster. Now, the only reason I run these 2, D-Grade's great for the Banish special summon, but they're also a Fire and a Water search option for Cynet Coding, which I am running also in the deck, which we'll get to when we go over the spells. But just having the options to search for the different, attribute monsters, since I wanted to run at least 1 of each attribute in the deck to have those search options available to us, definitely does come in handy when we summon out the different code talkers with their respectable, arc attributes. And then for a few more one-ofs, I run 1 Link Infra Flyer, just an easy special summon to an arrow on the field. Dotscaper for the discard cost for cards like Defcon Bird, or just, special summon back targets with cards like Cyberse Gadget. This one definitely does come in handy for that, and also just its own special summon effect. And lastly, to finish off the monsters, I run 1 Sim Tabler. You can reveal this card from your hand, then target 1 level 4 Cyberse monster in your graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand to the zone a Link monster you control points to, and if you do, the targeted monster goes back into your hand. You can use this effect of Sim Tabler once per turn, but I like it for the recycle options and just for the fact that it's an easy special summon to an arrow, just like Infra Flyer. And that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. I run 3 Cynet Mining. With this card, you send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to add 1 level 4 or lower Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand. You can always activate 1 Cynet Mining per turn. More search, more graveyard setup. Just having that option for searching for any of your level 4 or lower Cyberse monsters gives you access to the 1 of Lady Debug, or like I said, if you need any other specific Cyberse monster for your plays, and being able to set up some other of the Cyberse monsters in the graveyard to use with this card is just an added bonus. And then as for the new spell, I only have, just like Microcoder, 2 Cynet Codec, but I would want to play 3 of this. If I do, I'll show what card I would take out for it. But for this, if a code talker monster is special summoned from the extra deck to your field, except during the damage step, you can target 1 of those monsters and add 1 Cyberse monster with the same attribute from your extra deck, from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except Cyberse monsters, even if this card leaves the field. And you cannot add other monsters with that same attribute to your hand by the effect of Cynet Coding this turn. Codec, and you can only activate this effect of Cynet Codec once per chain. It's not a once per turn, you're just limited to what attribute you go for with that, but having the search for a specific one definitely does help when you get out that respectable Code Talker out on the field as well. So it is so, powerful, and definitely just having this card open on your field and then summoning out the Code Talker and just getting more and more search gives you more and more monsters to use as well. And the fact that, obviously now that D-grade Buster is searchable, now you can add to your hand that way and then just summon it out with its own banish, definitely does help for the different searches we have in the deck. And since we have all the different attributed Cyberse monsters, it's just that much easier for us to get any search we want in the deck. If you don't have Cynet Codec, I'll show what spell I would bump up to 3 and just a little bit, since it's a little easier to gain access to in the deck as well. And also just for the additional replacements, if you don't have the Cynet minings, you can put Cynet Backdoor as the replacement for Cynet mining into the deck. And also with C Archiver, I would take this out for Core Radiator. It's the new water monster from the Fist of the Gadgets booster pack as a replacement for this card. And then moving on as well, I run 2 Cynet Optimization. This card just is a great option. If your Code Talker monster battles an opponent's monster, your opponent can activate card effects until the end of damage step. And during your main phase, you can immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon 1 Cyberse monster, and also you cannot special summon monsters from the extract for the rest of this turn except Cyberse monsters, even if it leaves the field. You can only use this effect of Cynet Optimization once per turn. That additional normal summon definitely does come in handy when you're adding other cards to your hand through the use of Cynet Codec, depending on which one you search and add. So I just like to run the 2 of it though. Other than that, it gets a little cloggy in the hand, but definitely great when you do open it up, even with the decode, attacks with your Code Talkers on the field. And I also run 2 World Legacy Succession, just more easy special summon to your Link arrows on the field from your graveyard. So also the fact that this card is reprinted in the Megaton means it'll be much more available for people to get and use in the deck. And I also run the 1 Spool Code in the deck as well. It gives you options for tokens that you can use for your Link plays or just, playing defensively against your opponent. This is also the card I would put in more numbers of if you don't have the Cynet Codex. I prefer Cynet Codec in total compared to Spool Code. I like to run the 1 Spool Code for that option, but if you don't have the Codex, like I said, Spool Code is your card to replace, or you can even try putting in Call by the Graves to stop some of your opponent's hand trap plays. It's up to the player with that choice there. And then lastly, to finish off these spells, I run 1 1-for-1, 1 Foolish Burial, and 1 Monster Reborn. Just easy cards for graveyard setup, special summons from the deck, and special summons from the graveyard, just like some of the other spells we run in the deck. And then for the traps, the only traps I'm running are 2 Cynet Conflict, a counter trap when a spell or trap or monster effect is activated while you control a Code Talker monster, negate the activation, and if you do, banish that card. And if you do, your opponent cannot activate card or card effects with the same original name as that card that was banished until the end of the next turn. You can only activate 1 Cynet Conflict per turn, but this counter trap definitely does help to take problems, and solutions against your opponent, depending on what they use. We didn't really have a counter trap like this for the Cyberse deck before, but I'm really glad we have this option available to us now. And that's it for the traps. We'll now move on to the monsters. I run the 1 Shooting Code Talker, just 1 of this card. With this, you need 2 or more Cyberse monsters to make it, so a very easy monster to summon out with this deck since we run all Cyberse monsters. At the start of the battle phase, you can activate this effect. The battle phase, this card can attack your opponent's monsters up to the number of monsters this card currently points to, +1. But when it attacks your opponent only monster, this card loses 400 attack during the damage calc only. At the end of each battle phase, you can draw cards equal to the number of monsters this card destroyed by battle this turn. So it has draw power set up, but it also has just that option to get multiple attacks against your opponent. Having 2300 attack makes for quite a powerful monster depending on which ones you're going to attack over your opponent. As long as you have the arrow set up properly with what it's pointing to, it can make a good number of attacks on the field. Then for the additional ones, I run the 1 Decode Talker. I wanted to run 1 of each just so I also have the Dark Tribute for the search with Cynet Codec. Also 1 Transcode Talker, great for the revival and protection of your Link monsters. 1 Encode Talker, 1 Power Code Talker, 1 Xcode Talker. So we have the now fully together, just sad that Shooting Code Talker is not an ultra rare, just like the other ones, for a full matching set, but running 1 of each of the Code Talkers in the deck. And I also run one Tri-Gate Wizard. When you can get your extra link, this one definitely does come in handy for that. And I also run 2 Code Talkers, just another good link too. Gains 500 attack for each monster it points to, and cannot be destroyed by battle or by your opponent's card effects while this card points to a monster, so another good defensive card for that. And I also run 1 Landfornicus, just for another generic Cyberse monster to make. And I run, for the link ones, 1 Talkback Lancer, just a good recycle card for your Code Talkers in the graveyard, just needing 1 level 2 or lower. Cyberse monster to make is another strong link 1 to go for. Same with Link Disciple and 1 Link Karibo as well, just for more link 1 options. And I also run 1 Raster Liger, a Link 4 Cyberse monster. Glad we have another option for the Link 4s. Definitely does come in handy. If you didn't want to run Raster Liger, you can try Avramax instead. This is just more of a budget option for some players. And lastly, I run 1 Cyberse Reminder. With the level 3s we want to run, just having a good Signet search definitely does come in handy to get Signet mining to the hand or any of our other options as well. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.